Thank you for being here for Nonprofit Dreaming's Solution Spotlight. We're excited this morning to welcome Rajesh with SurveyVista to tell us about how SurveyVista can solve problems for nonprofits. So rather than go into any more detail, I will let Rajesh take it over and show us what he's got.
All right. Thanks, Melissa. Let me share my screen. I know this is about the demoing the solution and not going through the slideshow, so I'll keep it to a minute or minute and a half. First of all, thanks Melissa and Nonprofit Dreaming team to give us this opportunity. We appreciate the work you are doing to help nonprofits, make them aware of what tools are available for their different pain points, and it's definitely appreciated. SurveyVista is a 100% Salesforce native surveys, forms, and assessments tool. There are tons of use cases you can do with surveys, forms, and assessments. But one of the use cases which I'm going to focus today is how to take the application from intake to approval smoothly. And definitely this is an advanced functionality in the surveys, forms, and assessment types of tools. But this is one of the key use case we get, and I'll walk you through that. This is how the application intake to approval I have configured in our tool. Like, so somebody will apply for an application, which could be a grant application, student application, whatever you want to call it. There'll be a review part where somebody will review the application data, make sure the application is complete, and create a dialogue between applicant and the reviewer going back and forth. Again, everything will happen within the application form itself. And then there'll be an approver coming in the picture to decide that do we want to approve this application based on the application data and the approval checklist you prepare. Again, the checklist is nothing but a form kind of thing in the SurveyVista. And then you can generate reports and dashboards out there. So that's how I'm going to cover it. Let me quickly dive in here. Here you can see this is a SurveyVista app sitting within your Salesforce. If you want to create a new application form, you can simply click on the new. We have a bunch of options available here. You can go to the AI and you can type in and say, hey, get me 3 question grant application form build, right? And it will kind of build this application for you, but this is just a simple demo, so I did not make it complex. But then you can interact and iterate, type more stuff and all. But let's skip that part. I'm going to go and use an existing application. So here I have built a grant application form here, which is our grant application form. There are a bunch of sections in the form which kind of collects all the data you need for the application. Now you can design the form by going into our design and kind of setting the background images or setting some colors and themes and so on. Since we have limited time, I won't dive in the detail, but this is where you do it. But now, once you create an application, how do you drive the data within the Salesforce ecosystem, right? So we have in the settings area, there are a couple of important things here, definitely tons of functionality we have, but the question dependency is like defining the application journey. Like somebody says ABC, then you don't want to ask for XYZ kind of thing, right? So you can create it now for this one. I keep it simple. And then response mapping is one of the big thing that somebody submits an application, right? You want to take that application data and automatically create an account record or organization record in your Salesforce. If somebody is filling out the application first time, of course, they will provide you the contact information. So you want to create a contact record and all, and that you can do by creating response mapping rules, we call it, right? Again, with the limited time, let's move out from here. And then in our survey links area, you will see those form links or survey links, we call it, right? So you can take this link and host it on your website that, hey, if you are interested in grant application, click here to get started with your application. Or if you are using Salesforce Enterprise Cloud or Salesforce sites, you can host a link on your sites and let your community user fill out the application and so on. So here I have created this sample page, like I started this fictitious SurveyVista Foundation, which offers you grant up to 50,000. I can click on this button, start application. And this is the one which renders our application form, right? So this is the end user filling out an application. I'm going to call it non-profit dreaming as an organization. I'll intentionally want to upload the file for the organization. I'll put some numbers here. I'm going to just say, hey, non-profit, and I'm going to put my email. Now, if this user was coming in second time, right, this will be automatically pre-filled with the mapping you have defined, so you don't have to fill it again. But this is the first time this user is coming from this organization. Now, we have advanced Salesforce data question, we call it. So you can also take out the Salesforce data and present it as a question responses possibilities, right? So here I have only created one, the grant program, so it only has one option, but if there are multiple grant programs created, you will see multiple options. We'll just put some name of the project. We can say, hey, requesting 10,000 as a grant. Project is going to start on September 1st and going to end on, let's say, the October 31st. Go to the next one. Now let's not fill in real proper information. You can also request a file upload, so I can upload files here if needed. And then the final thing, the consent and authorization kind of thing and signature, so I can kind of type in and sign it, and I can submit my application. So at this point, I submitted the application for the grant for SurveyVista Foundation, right? So I'll close this part. Now on the behind the scene, if you see here in the application form configuration, we have defined the workflow here. So once somebody applies or fills out the application form, it will go into a review mode. And the review, we have different types of review. One type of review is you do the question flagging kind of thing, where the reviewer will look at each and every application element filled out. They can flag it, send it back to the applicant, right? So this is the review stage. You can define the stakeholders, right? So you can say who is going to be reviewing your applications and approving and all. And we have this decide, which is approve step. In the approve step, the review type is a checklist kind of thing that somebody will go through the checklist, looking at the application data and so on, right? Now, since I am the reviewer, if I go to my assigned survey, I will see the review, the application coming in for review for me. If you see here, this is a non-profit grant application form. It says currently in the review stage, and review is in progress. I can click here to review. Now, if you see here, in the review mode, it is similar interface like a application submission mode, where the application data is sitting on the left-hand side and the reviewer will take actions here. There is a lot of configurability available, but reviewer can put a comment and flag the question that, hey, I need more information here, and I can put my comment that, hey, you missed uploading non-profit certificate or something. Right, and then I can go on to the next one. I don't need to accept the individual question if I don't want to go through that level of granularity. I can just simply mark some questions which I want to send it back to the applicant and say, hey, give me more information. I can put some internal comment also. If I want to have some internal comment which is not visible to the applicant, I can say that, hey, request is high for a 2-month project or something. This is how reviewer can review each and every element from the application, flag them, right, and at the end complete the review. And you are saying that, hey, because I flagged certain questions, I'm going to send it back to the applicant to give me the additional information which I need, right? All right, so that's how the application review happens to make sure that application is correct. Now, if I go back to my email, probably I might have received the email, but email might take time. So let's go back to our application form. If I go to this analyze and go to this report, you will see the bunch of applications, and this is the non-profit dreaming. The recent one came in. It automatically created the grant record in the system here. Right, and also it created the survey response record, we call it. So at this point, applicant should have received the email to update the information, but since the email might take time, I'm going to just copy this link, open this thing as a incognito, and this is like applicant getting and completing the application again, right? So I'll see. So if you see here, the applicant got the application back with only one question we flagged as I need more information. I can also go back and look at all my questions if I like. But I can see the reviewer's comment and I can say, oh, I missed uploading the file. I'll just upload something here, right? And complete my application. And since no other questions are flagged, I can simply go next, next, next and submit my application again. And close it. Now, so now again, it will go back to the reviewer for the review. The first thing I did it in my assigned survey, but now since there is a grant application record also, if I refresh here, you will see grant application record, some key information here and the approval process right here, right? So again, I got the data, I got this thing, the file uploaded here. I can say, hey, it looks good. And I can simply just go next, 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 and mark this application as a complete and ready for final approval, right? So instead of rejecting, I'll say approve. So now if I refresh this a grant application, you can see the application data here on the left-hand side. It is sitting in ready for approval. The approval will come in here and they can start the approval checklist. Right? So I can say, hey, let me start the approval checklist. I can go through this. I can look at all this information and give my approval rating or review kind of thing. I will say no. I'll say, hey, it says approved for 10,000 grant, and I'll just say approved, and I can do next. Again, I can do some consent, and I can submit. So at this point, the application is submitted, the reviewer checklist is ready, reviewer approved the application, right? But it is still sitting in ready for approval because you want somebody, program manager or somebody to look at it, come here and say, hey, this is application data, this is reviewer's checklist, and they can go and look at it, and then they can go here in the workflow and say, hey, I reviewed app and approver checklist, all good or whatever, right? And I can approve it. Or if I reject it, it will go back to the approver to revisit the checklist. If approver rejects it, it goes back to the reviewer step where reviewer can again work on that application and all. But let's say I just approved it. If I refresh my record here, you can see this is approved. Now application is the grant application is approved and grant issue process can start, right? So that's the whole workflow. Now, if I go to the individual survey here or grant application survey, in the analyze tab here, you will see all the applications. Say, hey, this many applications are approved. This is rejected. This is under review and so on. So that covers the grant application approval process, pretty much whole life cycle. Definitely there are advanced features available to configure based on requirements. Open for Q&A or anything else I can help.
Wow, I'm so impressed. You all have obviously worked with your customers a lot to put in all the factors that that are needed to do that approval process. I have questions. So
sure.
When I saw you click the link and it takes you to a site that's obviously hosted by SurveyVista, is there a way to embed those forms in your own website so you don't leave, your website? I know that's a concern for some people when they get ready to fill something out.
Yes, you can take our surveys and forms and embed inside your website. You can put a link on community site. You can also, we have customers, not the non-profit but for-profit customers using as an in-app survey or forms data collection tool, like collecting the in-app feedback kind of thing. So yes, you can do whatever way you like.
Very cool. And so what sort of permissions do reviewers have to have? Do they have to have Salesforce permissions, or do they work actually outside the Salesforce platform too?
That's a good question. So like I said, SurveyVista is 100% Salesforce native. That means it runs inside your Salesforce. If you don't have a Salesforce account, you can't access SurveyVista. So we don't have our own infrastructure. Your data is secured by Salesforce and operated by Salesforce, right? Having said that, we have different permission sets. You can utilize these Salesforce's permissions and profiles to control who has access to what authorization level and so on. So if you don't want reviewer to do certain things, they can't do certain things. Sometimes the Salesforce license pricing would be a challenging, especially for nonprofit, right? You don't want to go to Salesforce and say, hey, give me 10 reviewer license. And they'll say, hey, it will cost you 1,500 per user per year.
Right.
We have it an OEM relationship with Salesforce. So if you want somebody just to use SurveyVista as a reviewer, we can give you those licenses as low as $100 per user per month, well, not per month, per year, right?
Yeah.
So we have a way to kind of go through the budgeting issue also.
And so one thing that I really noticed, because gosh, I'm thinking this might be a great tool to use for submissions to speak, right? Because we have on our team, we have 4 people that actually review every submission that comes in, right? And then we decide as a group, which ones to approve and which ones to decline. So when I saw that, you do the reviewer comments and then it's ready for approval. If you had more than one reviewer, right? If you had 2 or 3 or 4 reviewers, does it aggregate what they've done? Does it show you individually? How does it accommodate more than one reviewer?
That's a good question. You saw the single reviewer, right? So,
Right.
or single approver. We have option where you can do a multiple opinion approval. So instead of one approver going through the checklist, 4 approver will go through the same checklist. They'll put their opinion and all, and then the result can be aggregated and individually. I did not go into the detail. The checklist gets scored, right? So somebody like say I'm approver, I run through the checklist, my score would be 90. You go through the same checklist for the same application. Based on your checklist responses, your score could be 40, right? Then the average will become 90 and 40 is average. So based on that, the program manager or authorized person can take a decision, say, hey, we are going to approve this application or reject because multiple people are saying it looks good versus multiple people are saying looks bad, right? So, yeah.
Great. Very cool. Akash, Susan, y'all got questions?
Yeah, I have a lot actually. So, but those are from the usability perspective. So first of all, I'll start by saying what I really liked about SurveyVista. Something like setting up the form. It is so simple. I liked it.
Thanks.
I like the conditional questions which are available. So based on like a checkbox, if you are over 18, check the box, then asking, okay, give us your birth date, right, kind of thing. So those condition questions availability is really a good thing because that is really required on a grants application form, right?
Yep.
While going through this demo, I think it is intentional for showing the grants life cycle, right?
Yep.
So my question basically is, because you created one record of the grant application,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know that if I really want to use SurveyVista today for my own grant applications
Mm-hmm.
in using the nonprofit cloud for grant making.
Yep.
So my question is, can I tie that to the actual object which is out of the box available for grants management?
Yes. For the demo, I created custom object for the grant program and grant application. You can tie it to existing custom object, standard object, whatever is coming out of the box from the nonprofit package or nonprofit cloud, right? We don't limit on how so each survey can be tied to any record in the system, right? Or even multiple records, right? So in the application, if you want to collect even multiple contacts, that hey, primary contact, secondary contact, it will create or update the existing contact records and tie it with your application and other existing records also. Yeah.
Okay. Second question is, me and my team will be filling out the application form, right? So
Mhm.
can there be multiple people within the same account, like multiple contacts within the same account filling out the application form? For example, I have the finance team, I have the accounts team, right? And I have the programs team. So programs team will be filling out certain amount of data.
Yeah.
Then the finance will come. Finance team will fill out the budget and how much budget do we need, the funding thing, right? Then the other teams and so on. So take for example, there are 4 or 5 people who will be getting that information within inside the teams and then filling out the data in the form and finally submitting it, and also partial submission of the form, or sorry, partial save of the form, right? Because this application will be filled out in multiple stages from my team to another team within the same account or within the same nonprofit, right? So, does it also support in that fashion?
Yes. So uh, we you saw quickly the stakeholder area where you can configure the stakeholders, right? So if you're the applicant side, if there are multiple contacts within an organization, you can definitely put multiple contacts there. Not only that, you can authorize somebody to only update the application and don't submit it or finalize it. And you can say, hey, only one person can finalize it, then 5 other people can work on respective sections they are supposed to fill out. So that way, the stakeholder who owns the whole process can verify everything and before submit, right? So you can do that. Your second question was, what was your
The
second part?
partial
Partial
save
save, yeah.
function.
So yeah, I did not highlight that, but if you notice that there was a save icon there on the left hand side,
There
so
was
you
a
click on
disk.
that, it disk icon, right? So you can click on that to save it and come back later. Behind the
Okay.
scene, we have something called advanced notification within SurveyVista, which can help you
Mhm.
configure a lot of notification that, hey, your application is rejected. Click here to complete it again or provide more information.
Yeah,
So you
because
can configure those notifications also.
that happens very frequently with the grant application. Actually, there is
Yeah,
always some sort of information which is which is pending, right?
yeah, especially what I did in a demo is a simple one. Generally, the grant
Mhm.
application is very lengthy and all, right? One of the thing we are working on, even there were some of the long text questions I did not fill up, but we are working on AI analysis on that. So it will say, hey, for this question, user typed in this. Here is the AI analysis results, and you will configure your prompt for the AI, like how do you analyze that response and so on. Yep.
That's beautiful. Uh, I have just 2 more questions. The link that was generated, right?
Mhm.
So, do we use iframe? Can we use iframe for embedding that into our website, or is there a different set of code which is generated that we can embed in our website?
You can use iframe and put it. So whatever, it's a link URL, right? You
Okay.
can you can
Okay.
use it whatever way you like. You can use it
Mhm.
within an iframe. You can simply send it via email to somebody. You can host it on your
Mhm.
Salesforce Experience Cloud, whatever way
Yeah.
you like.
So,
Not only that, depending upon your use case, you can pass in some additional URL parameters, right? So if you are sending an
mhm.
application from third-party marketing tools, let's say, hey, we are excited to invite you for this application. You can pass in their Salesforce contact ID, account ID in that URL, and we will automatically link and pre-fill the data in the application form, right?
Yeah. And lastly, because if we can use this link in a external website, external web page, or anything anywhere in the web, what about the security? How we ensure that it is secured? It is protected by intruders, uh, like capturing that information when it is filled out on the form and things like that.
So we have a couple of options to. I'm assuming you mean by bots filling out tons of applications, right? So,
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
we have the Google CAPTCHA support, right? So you can enable the CAPTCHA, so they have to make sure that they validate. That now Google CAPTCHA or this version 3, it can automatically validate. It's a human filling out and then challenge when necessary. So that's one option available. We have another option within the SurveyVista itself. We call it secure access code. So if you configure that functionality, once the applicant fills out just the basic detail, the applicant will get an email with a secure code, and they click the link again to complete the rest of the application and so on. So you can use that functionality also to make sure that
That's
randomly people are not filling the application. Yeah.
that's really great to know. Actually, that is very important piece of info. Thank you so much, Rajesh.
All right.
I think,
Sure.
Melissa, I'm done. We can also use SurveyVista for getting recommendations on what sort of content people want to see at non-proprietary. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think that's a great
Yeah,
use case.
I think we would love to partner with you guys and offer you SurveyVista. We will throw in our services teams help so they can help you configure. And that's how we try to help community. Like you see here, also we give up to like 35% non-profit discounts to the non-profit. We understand that non-profits are doing good work for the community. They are trying to help out, right? And they are generally always on the budget constraint. So we try to help as much as we can.
Awesome.
I
I know
guess,
we appreciate that. Go ahead, Susan.
yeah, I was just thinking, years ago, I worked for an organization where they had us not on Salesforce, but quickly build as quickly as we could something where they had a competition for students across the country to come and submit a really, I can't remember the terminology, but some innovative products or, technology, mostly products. And we had to build kind of a invitation process, who's come in, an application process, then a judging process, right? Multiple judges had to kind of review and submit their scores. They all needed to be weighted, all these things. So that could be an avenue, if not already, for your product as well, those sorts of events.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, we can definitely use it for those type of things. Like I said earlier, we have very advanced scoring mechanism, right? So you can put a weight on a question or within your form that this question has this much weightage, and then when it does the aggregated scoring, it will apply that weight on that question.
Very cool. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Rajesh. We will wrap it up and we will see you all again soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.